One. Welcome, everybody, and thank you for joining us today. I know that Coloradans are very much looking forward to enjoying our great outdoors. We've had several wonderful days in the 60s and 50s for much of our state. And of course, we always enjoy our 300 days of sunshine. But a major snowstorm is on the way. In some places, it will be slush and sleet, and others snow. We expect the northern front range to be the hardest hit. So at 11:50 this morning, I issued the verbal authorization to activate the Colorado National Guard beginning tomorrow. That'll be about 50 members of the Guard that will be able to assist with search and rescue, including with specialized vehicles for that purpose. But let me advise you, you don't want to be one of those people that might have to be searched, found, and rescued. Much better to, if the snow starts coming down hard in your area, stay at home and not go out and not venture far in your vehicle. It's likely to get worse. In many places, it'll start Friday and Saturday morning, Friday night, Saturday morning, continue through until much of the day Sunday. Again, in the southern front range, it might be rain mixed with a little snow, sleet. Northern front range, as much as 2 feet of snow in some of our northern front range cities, Fort Collins, Estes Park, Loveland area. The most intense periods of the storm are going to pose relatively high travel risks. It really, when snow comes down at that rate, it really pushes the ability of our folks at CDOT and your local folks of keeping the roads plowed. So I'm encouraging you to be in a safe location from shortly after sunrise Saturday through Sunday afternoon if it's snowing in your area until conditions become safe. Our recommendation for this winter storm applies from Colorado Springs all the way up to the Wyoming border. As I indicated, south of Colorado Springs, it's likely to be more rain or sleet. But in a storm of this magnitude, it's also possible there could be disruptions with down power lines to electrical or other services. So just be prepared. And if you do need to go somewhere other than your home during the peak of the storm, make preparations now to make sure that the vehicle that you're traveling in is equipped with snow tires and chains, some water. Make sure that you are prepared to go. A full tank of gas would be a smart precaution as well, so you can keep the heat on. It's not going to be unseasonably cold like the last snow we had a few weeks ago. In fact, the temperatures in most areas will be in their 20s and 30s, which is why it'll range into sleet or rain in some areas as well. Ranchers and farmers are directly impacted by large snowstorms like this one as well, although we don't expect this one to be as bad in eastern Colorado. The Colorado Department of Agriculture is standing by, ready to work with state emergency management on resources that are needed for ag communities as well. I was told there was a storm before my time, but in the early 2000s, I wasn't governor, but I think the then governor had the National Guard involved with supporting some of our ag operations with food in eastern Colorado. So we're ready to stand by and be utilized as needed. For folks who are in need of information, your local emergency contact information is for your county is going to be your first source for that. Crews will be working through the storm to clear roads, allow for emergency travel, and the point person on that is our Colorado Department of Transportation Director, Shoshanna Liu, and I'd like to turn it over to Shoshanna. Shoshanna?
The advice that we want to convey to the public. If you can stay safe in your home or another location, especially during the peak of the storm, please do so. It gives our crews greater ability to do their jobs, keep essential travel possible for as long as possible, and return our state roadways to normal as safely and as quickly as possible. Something that I would stress about the trajectory that we're expecting for this storm is that it will be sustained at a fairly heavy rate, potentially about 1 inch an hour, for a long period of time. So part of what that means is that there will have to be ongoing plow operations. It also means that visibility will be compromised. Period. Really aware that both of those things have significant impact on travel, and it's really important to be quite cautious before going out in a storm like this. Our winter operations teams have been tracking the storm forecast since Monday. We have preparations well underway, and we plan to mount an aggressive response for as long as we need to. If anyone needs to travel over the next several days, we encourage you to check the conditions before you go. Use cotrip.org, which will have the latest details for any conditions, including possible road closures. And that this may be necessary during the worst of the storms. So for more information, please check codot.gov/travel/winter driving. I'm now going to turn this over to our Director of Maintenance and Operations, John Lorme, who's been leading our preparations, and he will serve as CDOT's incident commander throughout this event. John?
Thank you, Director Liu. CDOT crews have spent the past several days preparing every piece of equipment that we have available, and our maintenance teams are working around the clock in 12-hour shifts throughout the duration of this entire storm. This storm is a lot different than our routine high country mountain pass storm that typically drops 2 or 3 feet. Instead, I'm directing our resources from the high country that I usually have up there down here to the front range. These resources throughout the state will have extra crews, extra equipment, and will work closer to the affected areas on the front range where the worst of the storm is forecasted to be. We're also pre-positioning specialized heavy equipment to help clear roadways of snow and stranded motorists and vehicles, particularly in areas that are known to have unique operational challenges. While we're making every preparation possible, Mother Nature and safety will determine whether we can keep the roads open and safe for travel. If conditions demand, we will proactively conduct safety road closures to prevent the unusual safe situations that do develop. And this will give our crews time and space needed to react to make the roadway safe again. If you can remember the bomb cyclone a couple years ago, some motorists failed to heed CDOT and CSP's advice, and as a result, we had hundreds of motorists stranded within the I-25 gap area south of Denver. And they were caught off guard, and as a result, a couple hundred had to spend a long night in Douglas County's emergency shelters. So to avoid that, we hope that you will heed our advice and stay off the roads as all possible. To that point, we'll also prioritize our mainline routes such as I-25, I-70, I-76, and I-225, and then I-270. We'll be making, as the snow rates increase and the snow totals start to climb, we'll make fewer passes on our tertiary roads, as our local partners will probably be doing the same as well. By prioritizing roads, we're better able to maintain life and safety issues along our interstates. With that, I'd like to turn it over to our law enforcement partners, Chief Matthew Packard of the Colorado State Patrol. Chief?
Thank you very much, John. And I'll just start by echoing Governor Polis and Director Liu. And please travel only if necessary. The Colorado State Patrol will be adjusting our schedules to optimize staffing levels in areas that we anticipate to be most impacted by the storm. I just offer, if your travel is unavoidable, please take time before the storm begins to ensure your vehicle is properly equipped. Make sure your tires are up to the task and have minimum tread depth of 3/16 of an inch. Please make sure your wipers are in good working order and your washer fluid is full, your battery is charged and ready to go, and all of your vehicle systems are working properly. Of course, an all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive vehicle would be best, but I would ask you to consider including tire chains or another alternative traction device. Of course, commercial vehicles should be ready to chain up in the event of the conditions get to that state. Again, if you must go out, please take precautions in the event you become stranded. Recommend that you bring extra clothing, perhaps appropriate footwear or blankets, in addition to food and water. To ensure you can get help on its way, I recommend carrying a portable power bank or some type of charger for your mobile device. In an emergency, of course, you can always dial 911, or anywhere in the state, you can dial star CSP, and we'll do our best to get emergency responders to your location as quickly as possible. Just be ready to wait. Conditions are anticipated to be severe and can change quickly, but we'll do our best to get there as quickly as we possibly can. Again, we ask that you do everything you can to stay at home and stay off the roads. If you must drive, please be cognizant of the changing conditions. We all know in Colorado, the weather can change in an instant. A slow and cautious approach will be very prudent. Please pay attention to look for our partners at CDOT and our local partners and their plows, and make sure you give them plenty of room to do their important work, support our communities. And always, please stay alert for our first responders as they're working to keep you safe in these conditions and assist stranded motorists. And as always, slow and cautious driving is the best option in winter weather, and we're going to need you to be on your best game if you have to be out there. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, Chief Packard, and we'll be happy to take some questions for our panel.
Hi, this is Claire Cleveland, CPR News. Governor, you had mentioned the possibility of downed power lines and other outages. Can you detail what preparations are being done in advance to prevent or mitigate possible outages?
Well, there's certainly our major utility providers have always tried to prepare to minimize and reinforce. But what you never know is at the neighborhood level where there's a tree that might already be regaining its spring foliage, or might be an evergreen tree, and the weight of the snow might cause it to collapse. So these would be unpredictable neighborhood level. Systemically, the system is they're not risks at the systemic level. It's just the unknown of where trees could fall. And this is a little bit early. Thankfully, it's early. This would be worse a few weeks from now. I mean, there might be some foliage coming on some of the annual trees, but that would be a worse concern if this was about 3 weeks from now. But certainly any tree that has already regained its foliage could absolutely collapse under the weight of the snow or break branches. And even those without foliage, if it's possible for snow to pile up and cause those branches to break. So be careful of falling branches from above as well.
Thank you. Can you talk a little bit about what folks who are expecting to get COVID-19 vaccines this weekend should expect?
Sure. So there have been some check with whoever your appointment is with. Many of them, some have canceled their clinics and rescheduled them. Others will continue the vaccination clinic, weather permitting. Right. So check, a few hours before, the evening before. Some have made the call to cancel it. Others are hoping that this is more of a sleet and rain in their area with some snow, and or neighborhood clinics where most people being vaccinated live within half a mile or a mile. So simply check with your provider. If they have canceled, don't panic. Your vaccine is still there. It'll be scheduled very quickly, and check with them about how quickly they can schedule that.
Thank you.
Hello, Governor. Jesús Carrasquel from Noticias Univisión Colorado. Gobernador, en español, ¿puede decirnos cómo se prepara el Estado ante esta alerta de tormenta de nieve para los próximos días?
Mucho nieve viene este fin de semana y los calles van a ser más peligrosos que normal. So, por favor, no es importante no usar sus vehículos sin una emergencia, porque vamos a tener más que 2 pies de nieve en muchos lugares en nuestro estado, y es mejor pasar el tiempo en su casa o en un lugar seguro.
Hi, Governor. David Mullen with the Denver Gazette. Just wondering, has there been any indication that any of the COVID-19 vaccine shipments could be disrupted by this storm? And will it have any impact on the timeline of vaccine distribution?
We are expecting no impact on that. We've already received the vaccines for this week. Unlike the last storm, this is not causing enormous regional issues associated with unseasonably cold temperatures. It's simply a precipitation, snow, and rain and sleet front that is passing through our front range. So at this point, we're not expecting the delay of any vaccines. We expect for Monday or Tuesday delivery of next week. We expect the situation will be resolved before then, and we've already received the vaccines for this week.
Hey there, Governor. Megan Lopez, Denver 7. Wondering if the state is offering any resources or doing anything to help bring people inside who are experiencing homelessness, or if you're leaving that to your local partners, and how do you kind of balance that with COVID restrictions and trying to keep people, separated?
Yeah, this was an even greater concern a few weeks ago when the temperatures were below 0 degrees. This is a wet front, but it is not a terribly cold situation. So we expect the temperatures to be in their 20s or 30s. Normal shelter should suffice with normal insulation. We're not concerned about sub-zero temperatures. We, of course, look forward to working with Denver, Colorado Springs, Aurora, and others to help make sure that they can keep all their residents, including their unhoused residents, safe.
I'll pass. My questions were already asked. Thank you.
There's no further questions. Thank you so much for joining us. Stay safe, Colorado. Use your common sense. If it starts to snow, it's probably going to get worse before it gets better, so don't be caught out. We are activating the National Guard for search and rescue, but you don't want to have to be one of those that's searched for and rescued. Better to be safe at home or in a place where you could remain for a day or two until the weather passes over. Thank you.